Well, good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. The birds are singing. We've had several good days of rain, which my understanding is far better than watering out of the hose or out of the ground. And we're doing pretty well. I wanted to show you a few things, a few new things. Now, you've met the scarecrow. This is Scary Steve the Scarecrow. And he's not really scary, Pawpaw. He just looks that way because he's not real. And that was the message we wanted the boys to have, and that's the message that they picked up. A couple of things I wanted to show you. You'll notice on the ground here where the tomatoes are that there's a bunch of leaves, but there's more than leaves. I saw on a video on YouTube that if you want to help keep the weeds down and you want good mulch, what you do is you put, let me show you, here's a corner. You put cardboard on the ground and then you put leaves on top of it, but you don't put it around the base of the plant. And what this does is this helps mitigate the weed population, some at the base of that plant, so it's not perfect, but what it does is it helps mitigate some of the weeds, so you're not constantly trying to weed your garden, even in places where it isn't necessary. It just isn't a good idea. So we've got the cardboard, and that keeps the sun off, and we've got the leaves, and what that does is that helps keep the dirt moist but not saturated. We've had quite a bit of wind here, and I've been concerned about it drying out my plants. So that's pretty interesting to me, and it was a good idea. I ran it by Farmer Bud, and he said, "Oh yeah, man, if you can do that, do that." Well, I can do whatever it takes. I'm seeing, if you remember, just out of grins and giggles, I planted some iceberg lettuce over here, and I think I see some seeds coming in. So I didn't put leaves over here. We'll wait and see what happens. I am going to get back there and clean up those vines that have been there forever. You can't pull them up. You'll pull up half the country. They're so long and so deep. But anyway, so that's going on here. I'm pretty excited. These plants, if you remember, I got them as seedlings, and they were all out of the dirt, and it was horrible. But if you look right here, I'm excited to say that we have a flower blooming and another one on top of that, next to that. Now, I'm not a farmer and I don't pretend to be one, but I pretend to want to be one. And I happen to know that where you get flowers, you ultimately get fruit. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking to see if I see any buds on any of these other plants. And I think that may be one right there. I'm just not sure. So I'm going to call Farmer Bud, and I'm going to ask him, does that mean I need to quit using root formula and start using Miracle-Gro, or what I need to do? So anyway, that's that on the tomatoes. Over here, I've yet to figure out if any of this is bell pepper seed. And I suspect it may not be, because that's coming in, and that's the only thing that looks to me like it might be a flowering or a fruit-giving plant. So we'll see what happens with the bell peppers. I am excited to say that Connor's squash is finally coming in. All right, I see 1, 2, 3 and 4 squash plants, and if I can get maybe one over here and one over here to come up, then that'll be a full bed, and it'll be enough to where Connor can be excited about his plants growing. Now, interestingly, to me it's interesting anyway, if you look right here, and we've avoided this thing because it's just not part of the program. I read online that after you buy celery, if you plant the bottom of that stalk, then it will take root and you can grow your own celery. So what I did was I took one of those small knives like you cut tomato peels and stuff, you know, real thin, real flimsy blade, and I cut a sliver off of the bottom of this celery stalk, and I planted it in here, and as you can see, lo and behold, celery is starting to grow. So maybe if I buy another couple of stalks, get the celery out of it, and I can plant maybe one here and maybe one over here, and experiment time. We'll see if I grow enough celery where I don't have to buy celery all season. So for basically $3, I'll have celery for the entire summer. We'll see what happens. So over here, just general catch-up. I don't see anything encouraging me in my lettuce beds, but it's still early. Maybe a little bit right there. I don't know. But the corn is coming up really well. If you remember, I had planted 2 long rows, and Farmer Bud came and said, no, don't do that because it needs the opportunity to germinate, so you need a wide row instead of a long row. So I took where the beans are growing back there, I took those rows and I replanted them here, and it looked kind of sketchy for a little while, but with all the rain we've had, I believe this corn is going to be okay. It looks pretty perky. It doesn't look as perky as those over there, but it looks like they did a week ago. So I think we're going to have corn grow up. Now I counted 52 stalks of corn, and if you get 2 ears off of each, then that'll be 104 ears of corn, and that'll be plenty. And theoretically, that will come up right around 4th of July, so we'll enjoy some fresh corn on the 4th of July if I can keep the raccoons out of it. The beans have all come up. I don't see, well, I see there's one that's just plopped up right here, and there's one missing there. Actually, there are 2 missing there. Let's see what happens. Now this young lady, she's brand new. Do you see her right? Am I pointing at the spot right there? Right there. She's brand new. And these are bush beans. These are, they're supposed to be like pinto beans, but they grow on a bush and not on a vine, which is good because I'm not prepared for vines, except for the squash over there, and I've got a plan for that. Josh's spinach is coming up. It's not coming up like I want it to. In all honesty, I'm getting concerned that it's not going to thrive. There's 2, and I don't think that any grew down here, but if you go through, you can find there's one, and there's one. There's one that has just come up. There's one. There's one. So I'm getting some. There's another. Here's one that just came up, and I think that's a weed. And that looks like it's one coming up right there since the rain. This one's new. This one's new. So that one's new. So I'm getting some spinach. I hope they grow up big because I don't want Joshua to be disappointed. So anyway, that's the rundown for the day. Listen, if you have any recommendations, I know as soon as this corn gets bigger, I'm gonna put mulch at the base of it and kill these weeds. I know it looks horrible, but I'm afraid to do anything until that corn gets stronger. So anyway, if you have any recommendations, any thoughts, any feedback, let me know. Just don't tell me to clean up my yard. I get enough of that, okay? So the bottom line is this is all done for the kids And I'm kind of excited about it too. So hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all those things that you need to do, and let's make this take off. And bottom line, and I'll say it every single time, if you've got grandkids, it's your job to give them a heritage. Their parents will teach them what they want to teach them, but you give them longevity so they'll know where they came from. And it's not important when they're 4 and 5, but when they hit 21, 22, 23 years old, they're going to want to know what their roots are. And you being involved in their life will give them an avenue to think of who they are as a family. Call them and let them know you love them. If they live in town, even if they get on your nerves, have them over, have them ransack the house, have them run through the yard. Just let them know you love them, because they are more important than things. Have a great day.